Good morning, YouTube. This is the day after I got a chance to ride the KTM 390 Adventure. It's the pinnacle of what adventure motorcycles in India today, especially at that price. I was so excited to ride that bike that you will be able to tell in the vlog ahead that I was extremely distracted because I was so, when you give a child a new toy and then tell him to speak to you, he's not going to speak to you. So it's as good as a new toy for me, and yeah, I was extremely excited to ride that bike. Spoiler alert, I loved it. I love the format. I always loved the format, but now that I got to try and test the format, it's I love it even more. The adventure format is the perfect format that we need here in India. Our roads are nothing less than an off-road track. We have very few smooth roads, and even when they are smooth once a year, so they are always off-road. So obviously there are differences between the KTM Duke 390 and the KTM 390 Adventure, and there are so many differences that I had to make notes this time. Obviously the most obvious differences are the electronics on it. The KTM 390 Adventure gets more off-road oriented electronics. It gets traction control, it gets cornering ABS, but there are more differences on this piece of paper. So let's put the differences into perspective, because a lot of people think that these are same motorcycles wearing different clothes and with slightly higher ergonomics, but you'll be more accurate if you knew that the Duke 390 still makes more power, 0.6 bhp more than the Adventure. Now obviously the Duke 390 needs that because it's a road focused machine, it needs to be quick, but the Adventure on the other hand can do with that less power because it needs to be more rideable in the off-road scenario. This also shows up in compression ratio. The Duke 390 has a higher compression ratio than the Adventure. So you can see the focus of each machine. It's a little different. It's not just same bikes wearing different clothes. The most notable difference on the 390 Adventure that makes it focused for adventure is obviously fuel capacity and range. It has a fuel capacity of 14.5 liters, which is 1 liter more than the KTM Duke 390. And you might think, okay, it's only 1 liter, but how does that matter? It matters because with the lower compression ratio, lower power figures, and a little bit higher fuel efficiency, that 1 liter will translate into a little bit more range. I would think about 20 to 30 kilometers more. And then obviously to make an adventure motorcycle, it needs to be big in every which way. So yes, you have a bigger rim in front on the Adventure, but funnily enough, you have smaller tires. I did not know this also. You have smaller tires on the Adventure. They're slimmer, not by a big margin, but they are slimmer. Maybe that's because putting a very fat button tire would literally drag the motorcycle down when it's on the road. Other than that, obviously the bike is much higher off the ground. You have more suspension travel on the Adventure, unlocked by the WP suspension, the forks. And seat height is more on the Adventure. So if you're someone who's tall as me, I'm 6'3", you will love the Adventure because of its height, because it feels like you're sitting on a mountain. You have a bird's eye view of everything that's around you. You'll see it in the video. You have a bird's eye view. You're sitting so high up, and that's just amazing. Now, there's another very important comparison to be made. Fortunately enough, I got to ride the Duke 390 and the Adventure 390 back to back. The Duke 390, you feel the weight is lower down. It is centralized, or it is caught up between the engine and the front wheel. So you feel like the front is nailed to the ground and it will do exactly what you ask it to do. There's no slag or there's no lack of movement of any other part of the motorcycle. With the Adventure, the weight is sitting slightly higher. It's sitting somewhere near the tank and the front fairing and all of that, so it's very top heavy. It still turns. It will still turn very aggressively if you ask it to, but it's not meant to do that. It's meant to be a motorcycle that's higher off. You know, you can see a bird's eye view of everything. It's meant to be a motorcycle that you can take off-road. In that regard, both these motorcycles, the Duke 390 and the Adventure 390, they're designed for very different roles. You can't compare the two. Except for the engine, you can't compare the two because they're designed for extremely different environments. A lot of information on the KTM Duke 390 Adventure. So let's take it for a spin. Immediately you feel so tall on this bike, my god. My god, look at the seating. So I had to change the action camera because my action camera died out, so now I'm using my friend Miguel's GoPro. So immediately when you sit on the Duke 390, I've ridden the normal Duke 390, now I'm riding the 390 Adventure. The 390 Adventure, immediately it's higher, it's wider, taller, and I just like the way this screen is positioned. You know, it's facing me and it's telling me I don't have to look forward and find out what's happening with the screen. I've always liked the KTM Adventures, the 250 and the 390. They're very good looking, tall bikes, and because I'm a tall person, definitely I would like tall bikes. Adventure 390 has additional features over the normal 390, mainly to do with traction control and basically off-roading related stuff. I'm not going to ride this bike fast because it's a new bike. It's only completed 500 kilometers, sorry, and it's also not my bike. When it's not your bike, you don't ride it fast because you don't know the bike. So this is not a review because I don't know much about the bike. I'm just riding the bike to see how it feels, and I love the way it feels. It's very comfortable. I can tell you, you can do thousands of kilometers on this bike and not get tired. Sometimes I forget it's an adventure motorcycle and these bumps really don't make a difference to it, but you know what, again, it's not my bike. I don't want to fool around with it, and it's a new bike. I know so many instances that people have just taken someone else's bike and ripped it open, and then you meet with an accident because you don't know the bike. Would have started in third gear, which is pretty much what someone would be doing off-roading. Stand up. Wow. So it's like a SUV equivalent. Take this into some gullies. Let's see how it performs. You know, I am not a fan of aggressive bikes, but you know, just because this is a 390, it's not very aggressive. It's quite manageable if you ask me. It's less aggressive than the normal Duke 390, but that's probably why I like this a lot, because it's not that aggressive. It's very friendly. Oh, look at this, look at this. It's so easy to manage this thing, yeah. I'm not even breaking a sweat. You know, a Royal Enfield is more difficult to ride than this thing. Amazing. I love it. And if you were to ask me what would I pick, I would definitely pick any of the adventure motorcycles from the KTM lineup, the 250 or the 390, because they are both amazing motorcycles for my type of character. I'm a tall person and I like tall motorcycles. I like bigger motorcycles. But if you're a person who wants excitement, who wants thrill, speed, adrenaline rush, you know, the punch, then the Duke 390 is there. The Duke 390 is perfect for the road. It's the most exciting motorcycle in the category right now. But if you want something with long legs, you want to travel long distances, you want something that's comfortable in general, maybe you don't go touring, but you want something that's comfortable. Oh my god, the Adventure is where it's at, because the seats huge, very comfortable, high up, very comfortable. A funny story, before I got the RS 200, I was actually waiting for KTM to launch adventure motorcycle in the 200cc category. I thought that would come. Why? But unfortunately they launched the 250 Adventure, and that was more expensive and it was above my budget. I could have, you know, I could have spent the money and got the Adventure, but then it would be breaking the bank, and I don't really want to do that. That's not the way I function. So I was like, you know what, let's just hold off, and yeah, so I got the RS 200. But the Adventure is where it's at. I can say very confidently that the next motorcycle I get is going to be an Adventure motorcycle. The format is going to be Adventure. I don't know which motorcycle, but yeah. So thank you for watching this video, guys. I think this is a very long video, but it's totally worth it. I will see you in the next one, and some pretty big announcements coming up. Stay tuned.